Welcome to Conversations with KG, the podcast. I am your host, KG Smooth. As you can see, I'm doing things a little different this time. The first go round of content that you were receiving from me was just some older stuff that I had through my years in radio, some interviews with some of your favorite celebrities and singers and community folks and political figures and whatnot. And so now we are back with a new go-round, a new season, if you will, of Conversations with KG, the podcast, and doing it. We're going to try the Zoom way. I like this because I'm killing two birds with one stone with doing it on video and also with audio. So let's get into it. Welcoming on the podcast, she is the director, or the smart media director, and the community organizer for BLMHTX. Ladies and gentlemen, Secunda Joseph is on Conversations with KG. How are you, man? Good to see you. And my man here, he is the assistant professor of religion at Syracuse University, and from what I understand, just all around dope individual. Please welcome to the podcast, Dr. Biko Mandela Gray. Welcome, sir.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Always a pleasure.
Indeed. So, y'all, as we know, there are two things that are plaguing this nation right now: COVID-19 and racism. And as we know, and as we saw, the entire country is on fire. All 50 states had protests for justice for George Floyd, who is a native son of Houston, Texas, grew up in Third Ward, Cooney Homes, went to Jack Yates, and he was murdered on camera. Civil unrest, protest and civil unrest has been going down in this nation for about 9 days now. But the murderer, Officer Chauvin, I can't even remember his first name. He's not even memorable. Him and the three officers have been charged. Chauvin was upgraded from 3rd degree to 2nd degree murder. And we don't know the charges of the other three. Do we? Have they came out with, do y'all know what the charges are for the other three? I don't remember.
As of today, they hadn't said, at least what I read, they hadn't said that they released any charges. They just said that they were arrested. If you all seen something different, and they never, I haven't seen it.
I saw somewhere they were essentially accomplices to 2nd degree murder. So it was
accomplice.
Accomplice. Okay. So yeah, it was essentially that. Yeah.
How are you all holding up? I mean, this is different, and it's a lot with dealing with COVID and then organizing and going to these protests, and then also knowing that there are infiltrators and white nationalists that are showing up trying to hijack the George Floyd protest, on top of the things that we are seeing across the nation with police agitating the protesters and starting things, on top of the police themselves vandalizing their own cruisers and busting windows of businesses to make it seem as if the protesters or the people that want to riot are looting these stores. So with all of that we're consuming, because we are Black, and how they are treating us, how they did this man, everything that we're trying to do, and we still see that they don't want us to win. And on top of that, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's a lot. I didn't have such a great day yesterday. I admitted that. I talked to Secunda, and she really did brighten my day, made me feel a lot better with the talk that we have, and her just making me laugh. So having said all of that, How are you all?
You can go ahead, Secunda.
I mean, and I think at first I want to say that like community, like this Black love, this Black laughter and joy, even after like freely expressing our truth and our frustrations, that is what keeps us going, right? I think for many of us, me and Biko was on a call earlier today, and one of the things that he said is that like you go in and out, right? So it depends on the moment. When you're sitting by yourself, I think for me, and I'm resting, you know, everything comes up. I had a day, and I think I told you this too, KG Smooth, like last week, one day I couldn't get out the bed. I couldn't get out the bed. And later that evening, a friend of mine, partner in the movement with mine, Brandy, does a show, and there was so much laughter, so much expression on that show. I was able to get up, and it was late in the evening. That show come on by 6 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so everything that I did from my bed and my phone. If it couldn't be done from an email, from a phone call, whatever, it wouldn't get done on that day. And I was able to get up, I ate, and I moved, and it just let me know how important laughter and joy is. I think these last few days, the rage that I have and the anger that I have been pouring it into like just work. Like it is energy. It is energy for me, and that's it. That's where I'm at. And I do want to say this about the riots, not the riots, the violence that the white folks are doing. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I never thanked white folks for shit, but all that in there, they have their own intentions. They got their own thing. They got their own, I do not care. I feel like we're watching people turn against themselves. You know, they have their own fight, but some shit need to be burned down, right? And I'm glad it's done. And I think that all the lives that have been taken, I think all the blood that is crying out in the streets, I don't care who did it. Somebody needs to express the anger, the I don't even have the words, right? For these years and years of abuse, of mass murder by the police. So, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's Target.
I think building off of Secunda, one of the most difficult things for I think Black folks in this country is that we don't simply have to live with the vicissitudes of life. We have to do it along with being Black. Mm-hmm. And being Black is a joy. It's a wonderful thing that I would never trade in my Blackness for anything else. But it also comes at the expense of being Black in a world that's anti-Black. And so on the one hand, the world is dealing with COVID. On the other hand, Black people are dealing with COVID and being Black in a country that is anti-Black. And sitting in a space of having these twin evils potentially visited upon you, it can be paralyzing. I was telling on the phone call earlier, I've been fluctuating in large part between depression and rage. So there are certain times in which I move, and there are certain days where, I can't get out of bed. And then there are other times, even times during the day, where I'm furiously writing, because that's what I do. I read, I write, and I teach. And so I move between a kind of furious productivity, which I don't like the term productivity, but a kind of furious output of intellectual and rhetorical energy. But then at the same time fluctuating on that side of the pole to almost a kind of paralysis. And the only thing that keeps me going is my community, my beloveds, the folks that I am in community with and care about, of whom Secunda is a part. And so when you talk about being able to laugh, that is absolutely important in a space and a time right now. I'll also say, I think I think this is a moment of reckoning for the country. I think in many ways, what has both frustrated me and in certain ways, I won't say hardened me. I'm not that hopeful of a person, but what strikes me is that this particular moment, no one can look away. And the fact that no one can look away means that we now have to address this head on. And there are going to be people who are going to want to do this. And I'm talking specifically about the president here. There's people who want to do this in an incredibly white supremacist, anti-Black, violent way. There are going to be people who are going to want to militarize the problem away, repress and suppress very real outrage and very real expressions of anger and rage about injustice. They're going to want to do it that way. And then there are going to be other folks who are like, you know what? I've had enough. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to do this to me on camera and do it smugly, then by all means, we ain't got nothing to lose. And so we got to do this in a way to where we got to make you understand. And so I think we're watching that show up both sides. And I'm on the latter side. Both sides are now realizing, yo, we can't look the other way for this. And I think this is what's been so powerful about Black resistance movements in this country, is we force the country to look at injustice, look it in its face. And you can lie and say it's not there. But at the end of the day, you can do that all day, and then you setting yourself up for a powder keg, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm. In terms of white people looking like they keep asking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I saw an incredible post from Amanda Seales, which I believe is what probably got her removed from the Real, where she's talking about, no, don't come to me asking me what you can do. Do the homework yourself. Because we have been standing here telling you that this has been happening to us. You actually have seen this happening to us, and you were silent. And now you want to do something, which is great. But I'm not here to be the compass for you to figure it out. So you figure it out. And I was like, yeah, she's right. Because as I tell my Facebook Live audience on Magic 102 at night, you know, someone had asked me last week, they said, well, KG, well, what can we do? There's so much hatred. Like, what can we do? I said, there's nothing we can do, because this is not our bag. It's not our deal. It's not our deal. This is not our bag. They have done everything to us from the beginning of time. They tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps when we don't even have no boots. We make something out of nothing, and then they get jealous and mad and want to burn it down, and then we're right back at square one. So it's like, what do you want from us? You've done everything to us, and then we build our own, and you get mad and you get jealous and you still burn it down. Like, what is it? And so I said to them, like, it's not our burden. It's not our burden upon white folks to teach them about what's going on and how they can better understand. You know what you need to do. Look it up. You know what it is. Like, just stop playing. First of all, we need you to damn acknowledge it first. How about that? Can we start with just the simple acknowledgement?
And guess what? Go acknowledge it to your people. Because I already
yours,
know.
Right.
I don't want to hear you. I don't want you in my shit calling me, telling me how bad you feel. I don't want to see you. Talk to your people, get your stuff together. But you know what you can do? You can send them young funds. You can do that. You can say, I got this. Do you need it? Anybody who wants to help, right? Anybody who wants to, you know, I think about it like, you know, like just simply like, you know, there's a funeral happens, right? Or somebody lose a loved one, right? When that happens, as a person that is, I know a person is grieving, I'm gonna send flowers.
Right.
I'm gonna, call. Some people don't, the older people, my mom and them, right? And as you get older, you find yourself having a different posture. You don't necessarily even ask. You say, hey, I got this. If it's too much, don't worry about this food. Because I know people are coming to y'all house. I know you're gonna have a lot. I know y'all might need money here. This for if you need or if you don't need. I want you to know it's here. If you need something, let me know. But this is what I have to offer, right? And that is you don't worry the people. You don't come crying to them, talking about how bad you feel. You don't, no, you do what you have. I have a body, I'm going to stand on the line. Y'all going to be at a protest? Well, we going to stand in the front. Is that what y'all need us to do? If not, that's the posture. And they act like they don't know. It's simple. It's not, you don't have to go read 20 books to know how to have humanity. You don't have to just do what you would do for any human being, right? Like what you want me to cry? This is my body. You want me to pet you so you can feel better about my loss? How ridiculous is that?
I'm so glad that you said that. Like it's that simple. Like it's not rocket science. It's have some humanity. That damn simple. Have some humanity. I don't know why this thing.
That's okay. That's okay.
I don't know. Like hey, this is my first one, so
right. And the least they could do, the least they could do is leave us the hell alone. Because honestly, that is what Black people are asking for. We're not asking to really be a part of whiteness. That's not what the, even civil rights movement wasn't necessarily even about civil rights, right? It wasn't about getting in and desegregate. No, it was about leave us the hell alone. Leave us the hell alone
and education.
And let us live freely.
It was about education,
right?
And leave us the hell alone.
And leave us the hell alone. Let us do us.
I think it was so, I've been listening to this conversation. You all have been saying some incredible things. And I just want to echo the sentiments for white people who continually ask this question. And I have this happen often when I give public lectures. And I'm not saying this as like an academic, but because the question, eerily enough, is consistent across people's industries. So you see this, for example, with you, KG Smooth, on your Facebook Lives. You see this with Secunda's work in digital media. You see this even in the academy. And what's so fascinating about it is you get the same damn question, irrespective of your industry, from white folks who either are quote unquote well-meaning or quote unquote have the intellectual wherewithal to look this up themselves. And they ask the same question, hey, what can we do? And I tell my folks on my squad, I say, look, if I knew what we could do, I'd be way richer right now, and I would tell you what we could do. I want to be very clear about that. I would not simply tell you, I'd make you pay me to tell you what we could do. So there's a very real way in which, like, you're asking a group of folks who are consistently simply trying to clear space for themselves to also do the ethical labor, the ethical deliberation, the ethical intellectual work to develop a platform of progress moving forward. So so you're asking them to do double duty: one, clear space for themselves, and then number two, tell you how to live your life. And I think you all are both right. It comes down to what, my grandmother calls just being decent. Just be decent. This isn't difficult for you to do. Just be decent. And that sounds, I'm not saying that's going to clear everything up, because white supremacy is it's an institution, it's a structure, it's diffuse, it exceeds the white bodies that embody it. But at the same time, if you come to me and ask me that question, what you don't know how to do is be decent. Because the decent thing to do when someone is mourning is to sit there and avail yourself, materially avail yourself, materially say, what can I do for you in this moment? And what I'm seeing, at least now, I'm also seeing, on the one hand, I'm seeing folks who are asking this question, and on the other hand, I'm seeing folks who are trying to say something when they need to be silent. I'll give y'all an example. I was on Twitter because I can't get off the phone, and Popeye's Chicken tweeted out something like, "We wouldn't be who we are without Black lives," and everyone lost it. Popeye's like, that was the wrong move. Like, what are you doing? Like, we wouldn't be who we are without Black lives. And essentially what they thought they were trying to say was that we support Black people right now. But what it came off as, which is what Popeyes has actually done, is we profit off of Black life, and we would not have made our money without you understand what I'm saying? And so I tweeted it out. I said, and also the recipes that you stole from the Black lives that you've been dealing with too. And so I point that out to say, on the one hand, you've got these folks who legitimately are asking us what to do. And on the other hand, you got these same folks who don't know what to do, trying to do it by themselves, and they ain't got no clue how to do this. And in my mind, that means that there has been a considerable gap. I won't go into a whole bunch of details, but there's a particular theologian who says that humanity is utterly depraved, which ultimately means that there's no way for you to turn around. You've been so stuck in your ways for so long, you don't know how to be good no more. And I'm starting to wonder, I really am starting to wonder if white supremacist institutions, if white institutions in this country, and even well-meaning white people in this country, have been so stuck in their ways that they don't even know how to be good anymore. So I don't know. I'm thinking with y'all out loud about this.
Yeah, I think that they're not aware of their own privilege because they've never had to deal with any of this. Like when you just break it down to a white person, like just watching birds in a park.
Right. Sipping wine on a train. Going out to go barbecue.
I mean,
going to a corner store.
Walking. I remember when I first got here to Houston. This was in 2013. And this was when the Mad Hatter Morning Show was still on the box, of course. And something had went down, and we were at Fountain of Praise. We was at one of the big churches in A-Leaf. I can't remember. The name escapes me. But we were set up out there. I think we were collecting for, was it a hurricane or something? Anyway, there were a group of Black boys, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. One had his shirt off. They were young. You can tell that they were still in high school, literally just walking down the street.
Yep.
And 2 Houston police officers stopped them. And they were a little across the street from the church in this parking lot. We saw these cops stop these boys who were just walking. Looked like they had just got finished from playing basketball, because one had basketball and, no shirt on or whatever. And they kept those boys for a good 45 minutes just for nothing.
Grilling them.
And I was just, we were all outdone. And I was like, wow, walking while Black, that's new. And I just remember being outraged. And y'all, there was a chopper. I don't know if it just so happened to be a coincidence, but there was a police chopper that was circling around as they did this to these.
And we're talking about Houston.
We're talking about A-Leaf.
In A-Leaf, and we're talking about 2013, right? And here we are, 2020. But I think we went through, that's 3 different sheriffs, 3 different chief of police, right? We have, these different elections where Houston people have voted. And we have went from moderate Democrat to progressive, or to Black. We even had a Black chief at one time, to Latino, progressive. But our jails are still. I did on BLMHTX's social media. We did a Throwback Thursday. We did a couple of Throwback Thursday posts, and we posted some stats from 2016. And at that time, Harris County jail system was about 60% Black, right? We only make up 18 18 to 21%, and that's pushing it,
Of the county.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, that's the county, but the jail look like it's all us, right?
And
Hasn't changed.
Nothing.
Hasn't.
And that's across the board, across the country.
And not only that, right? We did we were part of some restorative justice campaigns of policy pushing, moving, encouraging, educating folks, right? Bail reform has not restorative justice, reform, right? Bail reform happened in Houston. Black judges elected in Houston. We just had a protest with the Houston Police Department. I guess they put on a protest with the mayor to protest themselves, to hold themselves accountable. I guess that's what had happened, because I never seen it. They got celebrity, to hug them and to give them the street cred, because that's what the visual was. However, there is blood crying in the street, not from 4 years ago, and there's never been accountability, but from the last 6 weeks. Since we've been in Corona, since Black men and brown men and women, because they're both getting killed here in this city, they're all getting killed here in this city, have lost jobs. People are in mental anguish, all sorts of things is happening. And police, HPD, are killing people in the street. And our chief of police is on national news playing a part as if Houston doesn't have a problem. And I think it's very important that the people understand what's happening, and we begin to shift that narrative. Are the people of this city, those young boys that you see, there's still some young boys getting pulled over. Some of them don't make it home. Somebody just died in jail yesterday. Somebody just got killed today, on this day, by HPD. Well, I don't want to miss the words. It was today or last night. I don't know. It was. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say within 24 hours.
So on top of that, because I see I got a message from Zoom about my 40-minute limit, because it's free version. Okay. I ain't paid. So on Wednesday, June 10th, the Houston City Council are going to assemble to vote on the Houston Police Department budget and policy.
Defund the police.
And that's what I'm on. But we want people, anyone who's listening, watching this podcast, especially if you are in Houston and Harris County, let your voices be heard, because the sessions are every Tuesday at 2:00, and you can call in, because everything is still, it's still COVID life, it's still quarantine life. So you can call 832-393-1100 and let them know that you would like to speak at City Hall. And then the meeting is virtual, and you can join from anywhere. So you got 2 things to do. Tuesday at 2, call that number, 832-393-1100. Tell them you want to talk to City Council. All right. And then on Wednesday, we're going to join the meeting. We're going to see, this is going to be very telling if City Council listens to their constituents and how they vote.
Yeah. And I'd like to direct people to, I want you, for a larger picture, go to Movement for Black Lives. They're going to paint a picture for you for the way it looks, for what we can imagine for a progressive police force. What would it look like to defund the police and pour the funding in our community? And then I'll also direct you to BLMHTX Facebook page, BLMHTX Twitter, BLMHTX, what else we got? Instagram, so that you can see how, at least get some information, some data for yourself. What is being presented by the state, by people who know they got to change something, right? And what people who have been thinking about abolition, right? Not meaning tear down prison and just no police, but what would it look to get somebody who need mental health care and not call the police for them, but fund social workers who can go out there, who can talk to people, You see what I'm saying? What would it look like
Mm-hmm.
instead of people getting a ticket for not having masks
Right.
to use that money to give people masks? This is what would it look like instead of being ticketed for being homeless and taking a jail over and over again? It takes about $5,000 to be arrested, right? And you get arrested 3 times a month because you homeless. How would it look? That's one person. How many homeless people we have in Houston?
Ooh.
How would it look to take that money and spend that way? You people who don't like homeless people, you won't have to see them in that way anymore. Not as many, at least. You know, so what would it look like? Imagine, don't buy no wood nickel. Don't let them present you with.
Oh, I think did we lose her?
Did we? Uh-oh.
She froze on us. Oh, you're
There
back.
she is.
Go
She's
back.
back.
Oh, I'm back. Okay. Yeah. Don't buy no wood nickel. Did y'all hear that part?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I got.
Oh, my, no wooden nickel. Man,
That's all I got.
Dr. Gray.
Don't
what you
take
got
it. Don't buy it.
Let me know what you want. What you
Yeah.
got before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I think people, y'all have said some really incredible points. At this point, I am the only thing that I really want to say is in large part to liberal organizations, many of whom have white constituents, many of whom have white leadership. I just want you all to know that we told you. We told you. We told you in 2009 when Ayanna Stanley Jones was killed. We told you in 2009 when Ayanna Stanley Jones was killed. We told you in 2012 when Trayvon Martin was killed. We told you in 2013 when Jonathan Ferrell was killed. We told you in 2014 when Jordan Baker was killed here. We told you in 2014 again when Eric Garner was choked out on camera and said, I could not breathe. That was in 2014 in July. We told you in 2014 again when Mike Brown was killed. We told you in 2014 again when John Crawford was killed in a Walmart. We told you in 2014 again.
My hometown of Dayton, Ohio. I
remember
that.
Exactly. And we told you in 2014 again when Tamir Rice was killed. We told you in 2014 when Rakia Boyd was killed. And we told you in 2015 when Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, I mean, the names stack up. 2016,
Oh my God.
Philando Castile.
I remember that hurt. Like those two back to back.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, yo. It was in the same week. And also, if you remember, during that same week here in Houston, and this one was under Art Acevedo.
And the Dallas shooting. That also happened that week.
It did too. It was Philando. I believe it was Philando, then Alton, and then it was Albert Brazil here.
Right here in Houston.
Right here in Houston, yeah.
Trying to find no accountability whatsoever. So it was in 2016, and I just at that point enough. We told you at least 4 years ago, and the truth of the matter is why the reason why people don't know now or don't know the names between 2017 and now is because everyone had a love affair with hating Trump. In my mind, we've been told you. We told you. And so I think at this point, the kind of politics of sentimentality, the outrage, the grief, the sadness, the oh my God, I couldn't feel, I didn't know, I'm struggling, all of the kind of rambling, relatively vapid, empty statements coming from folks who have had the power, the capacity, and the knowledge to do something, it rings incredibly empty right now. And all the blood on the street is on y'all's hands.
All of it.
I don't know how else to say that. I don't know if I can provide constructive proposals in this moment, in large part because we gave you a policy platform in 2016 with the Movement for Black Lives. They've been doing this work. We offered, and I mean this, and I probably shouldn't say this on a local station, but I'm saying it. I was on Sylvester Turner's transition team, and we told him,
that's right.
We told him, don't waste your money on these body cams, and we told you to get somebody who could do some work. We told him that. So Art Acevedo, I'm sorry, time is out for folks acting in a very real way, acting as if they don't know, and now they're pissed. There's something incredibly disingenuous about this kind of naivety that people have. And so for me, I just want the world to know we told you. We told you. I'll say one more thing and I'll be done. I don't always disclose my religious orientation because I teach religion at an academic institution. But I've been reading the book of Jeremiah, and I'm not trying to get all Jesus-y, but I think what's so interesting about Jeremiah is that Jeremiah tells the leaders of his day, hey, You were actively being smitten by God. Bad things were actively happening to you, and you still decided that you weren't going to do justice. COVID hit, and leaders in this country on both sides, Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, decided and still have decided to do nothing. Joe Biden wants cops to shoot people in the leg instead of killing them. That kind of advice makes no sense to me whatsoever. So I say all of this to say, on both sides, leadership has fundamentally failed us. And we told you.
And we told you. And with that, we are going to, that was a word, Biko.
That was a word. Thank you for that, Biko. That was a word.
Indeed.
I needed that truth.
And thank you too for coming on Conversations with KG as I'm trying this new thing with fresh content. Secunda Joseph, Smart Media Director and Community Organizer for BLMHTX. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this and hooking this up and bringing along the incredibly Dr. Biko Mandela Gray, Assistant Professor of Religion at Syracuse University. I couldn't thank y'all enough. I mean, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a privilege and an honor, boss. We really
appreciate it. It's been a privilege.
Oh man, thank you so much. And thank you for listening and now watching Conversations with KG, the podcast. I will see you next time.